Hi folks, it's Redfez Computing here, and today we are reviewing the Zalman ZM-T4 ATX mini tower case. Let's open the box and let's take a look. Okay, so here is the case. As I've said, it's a mini tower case. It's not the sort of size case I would normally go for. I tend to prefer a mid-tower or full tower. But this has got some really interesting features, and the combination of price and features makes this definitely a case to consider, even if you are building a gaming rig. Now, if it's a high-end gaming rig, you probably are going to need the space. But in recent years, there's been a move to putting gaming PCs in smaller systems. And this actually could work really well if you're looking at something that's not going to take up too much size, but is still going to give you the adequate cooling options. You've got space on the side here for two 120mm fans, and it comes with a grill just behind there, like a mesh to filter out any dust. There is space down here for a 120mm fan, and on the back it comes with a 92mm fan. Now this is probably the biggest disadvantage of this case. This really could do to be 120mm, so you've got to really make sure that you do make use of these, and that you've got a good fan on the back here. It does come with a Zalman fan, and that's the advantage of going with a brand name rather than a cheap OEM case. The fans that come with them are usually pretty good, so we will leave that in when we put the build in this, but we might have to ultimately put a better fan in there. So you might want to factor in the cost of a better fan. You can pick this case up for just over 30 quid in the UK, and it is a pretty good price for a case of good quality. The top features a USB 3 port and a USB 2 port. Would be nice to have had two USB 3s, I guess, but the fact that we do have a USB 3 on the front is excellent. On-off switch on the top, and that feels quite firm. This is a really good position for on-off switches, not down at the bottom, particularly if you're going to be putting the case on the floor. You've got a reset switch as well, and you've got your headphone and microphone socket. Quite a nice looking front bezel. It's got that gaming feel to it, but it's not too angular, so it kind of looks pleasing. And you've got a stealth drive there for your one optical drive that you can fit in this case. There's space for just one 5¼ inch fan. Bottom mounted PSU, which is pretty much a must for me, particularly if you're looking at building a gaming system. And if we just turn this over, we can see that we've got a removable fan filter on the bottom there, so that you can mount your PSU with the fan pointing downwards, and then that keeps that out of the cooling loop. Some interesting feet here. Notice that actually, as I've turned it over, the rubber bits have come off, so perhaps a down mark there for the quality for Zalman on that one. It's no big deal, we can glue them back on, but I would have expected that Zalman would have got that right. Other than that though, the case is pretty good. You've got the usual thumb screws, and the panels fit together quite nicely, and there doesn't appear to be too many sharp edges. These screw holes here are a little bit sharp, but there's a nice rounded edge there. These aren't too sharp, so I think it's unlikely you're going to cut yourself while putting your system together. We'll take the side panel off, take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's the inside of the case. The first thing you'll see is this massive cutout here on the motherboard tray. So if you want to swap a cooler out in situ, you're certainly not going to have a problem there. Down here we've got this ventilated area, because on the back of that is a mount for a 2.5 inch drive, so you can put an SSD in there. But there are also two more mounts, one down here for an SSD, and also one up there where you can fit in an SSD. You've got room for just one 5¼ inch drive and room for two 3.5 inch hard drives. So they've managed to pack in a fair bit into what's a small case, and of course they've managed to keep this area free, so you can get your 120mm fan in there, and you can also get a reasonably large length graphics card in there as well. It comes with the vented blanking plates, which is good, and on the bottom here we've got a couple of rubber feet that your PSU can sit on. That's good too. And we've got a fair bit of space here at the top, So if you're thinking of going water cooling, you've got some extra space up there. You couldn't get a rad in there because you don't have any fan holes at the top. Though if you're into modding, you could sort that out, of course. But the idea obviously is that you can put maybe the reservoir or pump up there, and your radiator can be outside, and you've got these pre-cut holes here that you can use. But this just gives a little bit of extra space in the case, which is going to mean there's perhaps a little bit of better airflow. It's not going to be quite so tight. Plenty of holes here for cable management as well, which is really good. And as you can see on the back panel here, it's recessed, so you'll be able to get the cables behind there without too much trouble. And some places here where you can actually fix cables on with your cable ties. Here you can see the stock Zalman fan that comes with the case, the cables that are bundled together, and a small instruction manual. We do tend to get instruction manuals with branded cases. We've also got your bag with your standoffs in, although some of them are already on, and any other bits and bobs that you might need. On the whole, this is a great case. I think for the price, it's fantastic value for money. If you really need something small and you're not bothered about the world's biggest case, it's a good option for you. I do think if you've got a gaming system, you're going to need to be making use of all the fan holes that are in it. Otherwise, it might get a little bit warm. But as you can see, it looks smart. It's by and large, rubber feet notwithstanding, well built, and it looks really good. So on the whole, a thumbs up from Red Fez. Thanks for watching.